Have you been trying to write descriptions for your products but you haven't been successful? Well, in this video I'm going to show you the 9 steps that you need to take to write successful descriptions, and we're starting right now. Hey, I'm JR Fisher and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Don't forget also turn on the bell notifications down there right next to that subscribe button, and turn on all notifications. That way you can be notified every single time I do a video. Hey guys, I've been selling online since 2009 and I've sold millions of dollars worth of both digital and physical products. And guess what? On this channel I share all that stuff with you so that you can start, run, and grow your online business. Also, when you stay to the end of this video, I'm going to give you a bonus. It's a $97 e-commerce course you can get absolutely free just for clicking the link in the description. Okay, so we know the only way to really sell your product is in that description on your product page, and if you don't have a plan that works, it can make it really super difficult. In my companies we sell a lot of different products. We sell physical products, we sell digital products, and that description, well, it's just got to make it happen or else we don't make any sales. Now I sell survival food in one of my companies, and that description, well, it's got to be really compelling. It's really got to draw the reader in, and it's got to make them want that product. If I just focus on, you know, food keeps you alive, I won't do too well. But if I can be really descriptive and I can talk about how good that food tastes and the long shelf life and all those benefits, well, that description is going to work a whole lot better. Now when I'm selling my digital products, which are courses, that description, it's got to be entirely different from that food description. Here's the real truth. Nobody really wants to buy a course. They don't. They want the results of that course. I mean, if they could take a pill and have all that knowledge in their head, I'm sure they would much rather do that than actually have to go through a course. The reason they buy a course is to get results of what that course can do for them. It's really important that we focus in on which course they're buying and why they're buying the course. Now if they're buying a course to learn how to sell products online, their goal is to make money online. If they're buying one of my courses on Facebook ads, then they want to do Facebook ads, and the thing they want to get from Facebook ads is results. They want to get sales, so they've got to know that that Facebook ads course is going to get them results and get them sales, because that's what they're really buying. So I just think it's really important that I tell you all this before we get into the 9 steps, so you can kind of frame how you want your descriptions to be on your products. All right, let's jump right into it and let's get to the first step. Number 1 is you've got to define your audience. This is so important. People think differently and they act differently based on who they are. So you've got to define this audience and actually speak to their wants, needs, and desires. The one thing you don't want to do is try to sell to everyone. I see this all the time. They'll say, well, my product works for everybody. No product works for everybody, and if you try to sell to everyone, you're basically going to be selling to no one. So let's say you had a nail salon and you were trying to sell nail salon services. You wouldn't focus on single men probably that work in construction, because they don't care about that. So you've really got to get focused in on who your audience is and make sure you speak to them. Now the best way to do this is really to develop a persona or an avatar of who your person is, and you really got to drill in. You got to say, well, the person's going to be from age 25 to 40. They're going to live in this kind of neighborhood. They're going to drive this kind of car. Their income is going to be in this range. They're going to be, you know, a person who likes these hobbies and they have this likes and they like this kind of music. And the more focused you can get on that, the better your audience targeting will be and the better your sales will be. Number 2, don't write about your product, write about the solution that your product will solve. So an example of this would be, maybe you're in the weight loss area. Now people don't want to diet and they don't want to exercise, they don't want to do all the things they're supposed to do, but they do want the results. So whatever the results are that your course can give, like maybe it tells them that they can lose 14 pounds in 7 days with little or no exercise and still eat the foods they love. That's what they really want. They want that result of your product. Now you don't want to make up anything. If your product can't do it, obviously you don't want to say it. However, if your product can do some really cool things for people and you put the results in the actual description, you're going to make a lot of sales. Now a good example of that is maybe you sell razors. Okay, now nobody really wants to shave, they want the results from shaving. So if you have like a really great razor and it's going to last a long time and it's not going to nick their skin, and God knows I've been at hotels sometimes where I would lose my razor and I would have to use the one in the hotel and it looked like I hacked up my whole face. So if somebody was saying to me it's not going to nick your skin and it's going to give you a nice close shave, then I would kind of get that, and I would know that because I've been through that experience, and I think most men have, who've traveled and tried to use those little disposable razors. So think about all the negatives that you want to get rid of with your product and all the positive benefits that you can give to your customer. Number 3 is focus on benefits. So we want to list a lot of benefits that your product can give somebody. So let's say you're selling a luxury car, and you got to think, well, what do people want when they want a luxury car? Well, it could have a really smooth ride, it could be really quiet inside, it could have a soft interior, it could have, you know, a warm leather interior or cool leather interior, depending on the time of year that you're particularly selling that car. We want to talk about the benefits that that car is going to give them. Maybe it has a great Bose stereo system and it sounds like symphony music in there. All these things are things that people are looking for in a luxury car. Okay, so I can't reiterate it enough, it's really all about the benefits of your product. So let's say, for example, you're selling vacuum cleaners, and we think about a vacuum cleaner as an essential item for our household, but if we can make that vacuum cleaner easier and simpler to use and more convenient and more effective, then of course we're going to be able to sell it. So if you're selling this vacuum cleaner, maybe you'll show the vacuum cleaner going over hair just one time, the pet hair on the carpet, and you don't have to go back and forth, and maybe it's like super lightweight, and maybe it's really quiet. All these things are things that people want, and if you think about the things you dislike about a vacuum cleaner is they don't do a great job, they're real heavy and bulky, they don't turn well, they're very noisy, and if your particular product can solve some of those problems and you can talk about those problems, you're going to get more sales. Number 4 is to tell a story. Now if you are a brick and mortar store, it's pretty simple. I mean, people can pick up your product, they can look at it, they can feel it, they can touch it, smell it, whatever it does for them, they can actually experience it. But if you're selling online, it's a whole different game. You have to make sure that they actually understand that all these benefits that this product has can actually make their life better, and you're going to have to describe it in the description, whereas if you had a store, they could actually just pick it up and figure it out. For example, maybe you sell barbecue grills, and you could tell the story about how, remember when you were a kid and your dad was the master at the barbecue grill, and everybody circled around because he just cooked steaks perfectly and ribs and chicken, and it was so delicious, and everybody just couldn't wait to bite into that food. And you could say something in your ad like, now you can be that guy that they all circle around and they all admire his cooking just like dad. Now number 5 is use online tools to improve your writing. Just because you do something every day doesn't necessarily mean you're good at it, and there's a lot of free tools out there that you can actually use that will help you improve writing these descriptions. One site I think of just off the top of my head is the State of Writing. The State of Writing is a great site. You can go there and you can ask questions, you can find answers to your questions about punctuation or word usage or whatever you want. So go to the State of Writing and compare your descriptions against some of the rules and steps and procedures that they recommend. Next website I would tell you to go to is English Assignment Help. You can go to English Assignment Help, and it'll really help you improve your descriptions by looking through some examples and looking at the rules and steps they tell you to take. The next one I would tell you is Grammarly. I love Grammarly. Grammarly is really cool, and it's free, and it's actually a download, and you can put it on your browser so that every time you write something, whether it's an email, whether it's a description or whatever, Grammarly is watching over your shoulder and it makes recommendations. It will actually highlight the word in there and give you a suggestion as to what you need to do. It'll have a little drop down in there. It's a really cool tool. Now they have a paid version of this too, but I just use the free one and it helps me a lot. It'll also help you correct any spelling errors, and I got to tell you, I have a lot of those, so that's really helpful to me. Another cool one, and it's very similar to the other ones, is Word Counter. You can actually copy and paste all of the text that you've written into Word Counter, and it will find all the errors for you and tell you what you need to fix. Also, you could go to Essay Writer. Essay Writer works pretty much the same way. You can take whatever you've written, copy and paste it in there. It'll tell you what corrections you need to make for grammar, spelling, context, all those things. And the next one I'll tell you to use is Writebox. Writebox will actually help you write the description without all the distractions that you normally have when you're trying to write descriptions and all that confusion. You can put it in there, you can figure it out real quick. Number 6 is use social proof. Now what the heck is social proof? Social proof is just as somebody outside of you saying something good about your product. Now it can be a text. You see them in Amazon all the time where there'll be reviews there and people will be talking about products. It can actually be a video. I know I have videos on my web page. My wife has videos on her page for her dog training where it actually has somebody talking about her training and how it's helped them out. And nothing sells better than social proof. I mean, they know that you're trying to sell it to them. They get that, okay? But when they see somebody else other than you doing it, it really means something. And that's why you see a lot of ads on TV will use celebrities, because if they have some status to them, well, that makes that social proof and that testimonial that much stronger. Number 7, avoid cliche and jargon. And what do I mean by that? I mean descriptions that don't really say anything. I've seen descriptions that say things like excellent quality or best there is. What the heck does that really mean? It means nothing. So when you put stuff like excellent or the best there is, it's just not selling anything and you're taking up room. You do a whole lot better to list the benefits and how great those benefits are than using these words that just really don't mean anything at all to the reader. Number 8, use proper formatting. Proper formatting is so very important. A lot of times I'll see descriptions and it's just one run-on long paragraph that's got hundreds of words in it. Nobody's going to read that. I'm telling you, they're not going to read it. When you're writing a description, you need to do several things. First off, you never want to have more than 2 to 3 sentences in any one paragraph, and then you want to kind of break it out because people are going to scan this. Maybe you're going to want to put some bullet points in there, or maybe you're going to have a list of numbers, that type of thing. People will oftentimes just scan down to what those bullet points are or start reading those numbers, the top 10 things that makes your product so great, and that's what's going to sell it to them. So when you format it and they look at it, you know, it's like sometimes you'll get an email, and when you get the email, somebody's written a ton of stuff there and there's no, you know, commas and there's no punctuation and all the words are run together and it's a really small text, and you just look at it and go, I don't want to read this. The same thing's going to happen on your descriptions. You got to have a lot of white space there so that their eyes can rest between and they can see what all these important facts are. Number 9, come on, proofread and edit what you've written. I know this is a thing I have to do. I remember years ago I would write something and just leave it that way and send it out, and that was a mistake. Okay, nowadays I check everything before I hit that send button, before I hit that publish button on a description. I actually go back and read it. Does it make sense? Because sometimes when you're writing, it doesn't go onto the paper the way you think it's going to go on there, and you actually make a lot of mistakes, and I know I do. So it's super important that you proofread it a couple times. Another great idea for proofreading is give it to somebody else to look at. Because you wrote it, you may think it makes total sense, but when you give it to somebody else, they read it and they go, well, this doesn't make sense. What do you mean by this? So it's really important to make sure you proofread it, and if you have an extra person that can look at it, do that too. Now I can promise you, if you follow these 9 steps, they're going to help you out. They're going to give you a guide. They're going to give you something to go by. And here's what I would suggest to you is write them down somewhere. You can just write down the numbers and what I said. You're going to remember what I said, and when you're writing a description, just go down the list. Did I do this one? Did I do this one? Check it against what you've written. If you do that, you're going to end up with better descriptions, and better descriptions lead to what? More people reading it and buying your product, and that's what we ultimately want. So please follow these 9 rules and you're going to get much better results. Now here's the question of the day. Have you already written descriptions? Have you? Did you write some descriptions? How did they turn out? What were the results? Did you get some sales off those pages? Now keep in mind, when you write a description on a page, if you want to judge how well it does, you've got to send a lot of traffic to that page. Don't make a decision on 8 people visiting the page or 20 people visiting. You need a few hundred people actually visiting that page. But once you've got that data, let's take a look at it. Let's see what happens. If it's not the results you want, maybe you could split test it. Now we use a software called Kartra, and I'm going to put a link in the description down here where you can actually get Kartra for $1, and you can actually do split tests in there on pages where when they go to one page they're going to see one thing and another group sees another thing, and you can actually split it down the middle. So if you had 1,000 people go to that page, 500 will see one version, another 500 will see the other version, and you can actually see which page converted better for your particular product. Don't forget, I promised you a course. It's down in the description, and it's a free e-commerce course that's worth $97. You've got to take advantage of that. You don't have to do anything, no credit card required. Just click the link and start learning. That's pretty simple. And if you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe. Hit that subscribe button down there right now. It'll make you a VIP and part of the Fisher family. And guess what? When you do the bell, little bell next to it there. When that bell rings and you turn on all notifications, you are a VIP person. Why? Because we will notify you every single time I do a new video, so you don't miss anything. Thank you so much for listening to this video, and I will see you in the next one. Hey, thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click that little bell right there so you can be notified every time I do a new video. Also, click on one of those videos there. Keep watching on my channel.